We turn now to an often overlooked problem, the alarming growth of female incarceration. The war on drugs and increasingly punitive sentencing of nonviolent offenders are sweeping record numbers of women and girls into the criminal justice system. Is a research analyst, Nazgol Ghandnoosh is a research analyst at the Sentencing Project, which is a nonprofit organization involved in research and advocacy for criminal justice reform. She joins us from Washington, D.C. I've got to ask you, and of course, welcome to Arise America. How do you measure the amount of women that are being incarcerated now in record numbers? What is the cause of this, in your opinion?
A big part of the cause is the war on drugs. So we know that, for example, in 1980, there were 13,000 women incarcerated in the United States in prisons. Currently, there are 100,000 women in prisons, another 100,000 in jails. And when you add the number of people that are serving time under community supervision, and so that's probation and parole, that gets you to over 1 million. The majority of these women are serving sentences for drug offenses and property crimes. So because we've allocated so much resources to criminalizing drugs, we have less for prevention and treatment. So there are a lot of women incarcerated for drug offenses, but also for related crimes that they're committing in order to sustain addictions.
And we're talking about that affecting also these kind of crimes, especially when it deals to drugs. We're talking about the numbers here are alarming. 1 in 18 black women are in prison. 1 in 111 white women are in prison. That's a large difference there. 1 in 45 Latina women are in prison. Do you think if drug laws were changed, that might maybe lessen the number of women that are going to prison?
Yes, it has to do partly with drug laws that in some cases have longer sentences for crimes that people of color for drug crimes that people of color are being arrested for. But a lot of it also has to do with law enforcement. So we know that the odds of getting caught with any kind of drug on you differs significantly by race. That has to do with the locations that people live in. So the police target specific communities for drug law enforcement. And it also has to do just with some unintentional bias in policing, where the police officers are more likely to search individuals that are non-white than to search white individuals. And this is even though there's a lot of research, for example, by the National Institute on Drug Abuse that shows that there's no racial difference in rates at which people use drugs. So white Americans, Hispanics, and African Americans use drugs at similar rates. And yet, although 30% of the population is Black and Latino, the proportion that are incarcerated for drug offenses, it's about 60%, so double.
Well, I tell you, I wish we had more time to talk about a number of things here, including the impact that families have with their mothers being in prison. I assume that also has a financial impact as well, not just on them, but of course taxpayers and all sorts of other things that go into this. But of course, we've run out of time. But I want to thank you so much for this report and you revealing some of the numbers that you've given us here, our viewers here on Arise America. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.